Hi there. Welcome to Knitting Pipeline Extra. I am Paula. I am the host of the Knitting Pipeline audio podcast, which has been going now for 6.5 years. I couldn't remember. 6.5 years. So I started this a little over a year ago as a video supplement. I talk about knitting and quilting and other fiber arts and whatever else I feel like talking about, I guess. So behind me here, you can see a few of my special holiday decorations on the, oh, I think I'll go get it. Hang on a second. This is a cross stitch door hanger from Denmark. I was a student there in 1974-75, and my host sponsors gave me this. She had made it. It has some traditional Scandinavian, Danish. It has the year, the Nissa, Julenissa, the Christmas tree with candles, the reindeer, and it says, "With happiness in our hearts, we bring Christmas in." And they're angels and bells. And it says Denmark. And hearts are very much, red and white hearts are very much a part of Danish Christmas. And then this tree I made a long time ago, back in the 80s when these things were popular. And the ornaments on it are mostly, some of them are little knitted hearts and, mittens and sweaters. But my father made Christmas ornaments on his wood lathe, and that's what most of them are, with a little color from the others. Oh, and that pillow, whoops, there, back on the bench, that was given to me by my friend Missy, and it's a wool applique pillow. So I'm going to talk about knitting, and then I'll go into sewing and quilting. And I'm just going to pick up things not necessarily in the order that they were made, but this is Beans the Cat. It is a really quick little toy you can knit up as a gift or a little stocking stuffer. It's a free pattern by Linda Dawkins. I used Briar Rose yarn that was left over from the wonderful Wallaby for my granddaughter. And I'm glad I didn't use any more of it because the sweater is a little short on her. So I'm going to do some sweater surgery and add in an inch or so into it. So this is a pattern I wanted to share with the knitting class that I have at the middle school because it incorporates some techniques like I-cord for the tail and some simple increases and decreases. And it was really quick to put together, but we haven't done that yet. They weren't quite as excited about it as I was. And then another toy, which was finished, but I had to take out the top part, but you'll see. This is Butterfly by Susan B. Anderson. It is available as a single pattern, and then it's also in the most recent issue of Making, the magazine. And that one is called Fauna. The first issue is called Flora. And I just received that from one of my listeners. Thank you so much. And I'll be sending a little something your way. I know you didn't expect anything, but too bad. Anyway, this is what Making looks like. This is the first issue, which is Flora, and it's beautiful. By the editor and photographer and main person is Carrie Bostic Hogue, and it's all kinds of makings. So this is the butterfly, and I used just leftovers. I think most of this was a gradient set from Wonderland. And then the cocoon is almost finished. It was finished, but then I took it out because I had messed up just a little bit on the grafting or the Kitchener stitch at the top. When you're doing garter stitch, you go in as if to knit, in as if to purl, and then in as if to knit, in as if to purl on the top one, and I'm so used to doing it in stockinette that on one stitch I did on the bottom one I did in as if to knit, in as if to purl, and then I did in as if to purl, in as if to knit on the top needle. So it was right at the very back of it, right where the point is, and I thought, oh, it's a toy. Then I had to take it out. So that'll be a little 5-10 minute job to finish that off. But look how cute it is when you put the butterfly inside the cocoon. It is so adorable. Look at that. And it's just such a cute little size for little hands. So this is going in my granddaughter's Christmas stocking. I have to talk to my son and daughter-in-law to find out how they're going to deal with Santa, because I think she'll figure out pretty soon that Santa doesn't knit, and she's going to get knitted things at Christmas, so we might have to figure that out. And Susan now has her own yarn company, Barrett Wool. I'm sure she has some lovely yarn that you could knit this with. The green is Quince & Company Chickadee in the Leek colorway. And then let's see. Oh, another work in progress, which I really have to get going on, is this dress. I'm knitting the Clara dress. I thought I had the pattern here. I do. Just a minute. I have no time to edit, by the way. My family's coming in a couple days, but I don't know why my lips are really dry all of a sudden, but I'm making the Clara dress. And it says Tuto Santa Fe Knitting and Design Studio, but I think it originally came out as a pattern with the Isair, Marianne Isair yarn. So this is it. I have to say, well, I paid $9 for the pattern. There is a free version online that's top down. This is bottom up. And there's some things about the pattern that I find a little lacking, like lack of a schematic for one thing. And I've had to start over once, and then I had to take some things out. And this won't be around next time I'm going to podcast, so I'll show you here. I am using Madeline Tosh. It's the merino cashmere silk blend, and I got it at Le Mouton Rouge Knittery in Bloomington, Illinois. So here's what I have so far. You can see the lace at the bottom, and I did what the pattern said and had about 8 inches, and then I started the seed stitch that comes right under the armholes, and it just didn't look long enough to me. I wanted it to be at least to her knees, maybe a little longer. Not so she can grow into it, but I just think a holiday dress is so sweet on a little girl when it's a little bit on the long side, but then again, we don't want it so long that they're tripping on it. So I took it out. I actually went to Target and I measured some 18-month size dresses and the length of the skirt, and they were all about 12 to 13 inches from the armpit and armhole. Sounds better than armpit. And this was only going to be 9 or 10. So I took it out and added a little length. And by the way, this takes a boatload of yarn. This is one skein. And fortunately, I bought 2. So I have this whole thing to do. I'll have plenty because the bodice is not as big as the skirt, but it's voluminous, this skirt. In a way, that was a good reason that I started over, because I made the smaller size. There are only 2 sizes, and I don't even think they say the size. They just say the chest measurement, which, unless you get that measurement for the child, how are you going to know? But anyway, it feels good. And I got her a little t-shirt to wear underneath it. And this one's, it sets the back. Here's the front. It has a little pleating in it. I got it at Target. That was a tip from my friend Jan Marie. She said that she gets a t-shirt in the size that her granddaughter is wearing at the time, and then she sizes according to that, and that is a wonderful tip. So I have this little t-shirt that I can use now while she's still in the 18-month sizes. So on the audio, I reviewed a new book by Jane Richmond and Shannon Cook, which is called Within. And we had a giveaway for a copy of the pattern and a copy of the book. And I'm not going to review it again now. There are a couple of things in here that I think I'll be making pretty soon. But I thought it might be kind of fun to do a little time travel backwards. And you can see something that I made from Journey. I already showed you Swift, which is a hat by Shannon Cook. And this pattern it's the first one I made. And it is, I have to look up the name of it. I can't remember. It's called Spate, which are, here, I might as well get them. And I don't even know what this yarn is. I think it's Bartlett Yarns. I don't know. It's just a nice, natural, worsted, kind of heavy worsted weight. So these are Spate from the book Journey by Jane Richmond and Shannon Cook. And I have worn these a lot. I don't know if you can tell, they're a little bit pilly. It is a real easy stitch pattern. It's very quick to knit up. And I love the length of them. And then I like the length here that I can turn this down. And if you're doing something with your hands, that makes it nice. So I just thought I'd show you that. And then, oh, what I'm wearing, how about that? This is my new sweater, which is Lush by Tin Can Knits. It is done in a DK weight. I used Quince and Company Phoebe in the Mercury colorway, and all of so far, I don't know if there are new colors to be coming out on that, but they're all named after planets. And I had so much fun knitting this. It's a really good fit. It's supposed to have some negative ease. So here it is. I think it fits me really well. I really didn't have any major issues with it at all. And I'm trying to find a buttonhole. Yeah, I generally will wear sweaters like this buttoned up. The lace pattern was so easy. It was very intuitive, and you start at the back and knit around to the front on one side and pick up stitches. And so it was an interesting construction. I also like the way the neck is a little bit scooped out. That, I think, is comfortable for me, and I really love it. The yarn, which is, as I said, is called Phoebe. Let me get out of the picture here again. It is a tonal. And I actually used this on my Angelus Novus, and then that was too small for me, so I frogged it, and I had to reskein the yarn and wash it, because if you haven't done that, yarn that has been knitted up and blocked, as this was very, very kinky. It just was, it was, like my hair used to be when I had all the curl in it. And so I did this a little differently. I actually skeined it up, and I have a little video I'm probably going to be putting together, but I skeined it up, and usually I would soak the skeins and then do just soak them and then hang them, but that doesn't really get the kinks out very well. Even if you do a very, very long wet soak, it doesn't always do it. So I was toying around with another method, and I actually skeined them up and used my Eurosteam iron. I steamed the skeins, and I'm not saying that it doesn't stretch the yarn a little bit, but it sure does a better job of getting the kinks out than the other method I've tried. Now, with that said, I had plenty of yarn to knit this sweater without even delving into what I had already used because I over purchased on it. So I won't use this for a sweater, but see, this is one of the reskeined ones and looks pretty good. So I'm not sure yet that I would really, I wouldn't say that this would always work for you, but it worked, I think. And the yarn still has plenty of bounce in it, so I don't think it stretched it out too much. If you don't have a Euro steam iron, which has a ceramic plate, so you can put it directly on there, you would use a pressing cloth, and that would work as well. I'm watching my time because my husband's at the dentist. He's only going to be there so long, and the last episode was long, and it just takes a long time to upload. This is the second chromatic cowl that I made. I gave the first one to my sister, and as you can see, there's a definite bias on this. I have to talk to Amy Dachin and see what she says about that, but this one is really nice, and it is, I think this is a verb for keeping warm, is the yarn. Really enjoyed making it, and I don't believe there are any mistakes in this one. My first one, I did have some errors in it, but they were really only visible from the inside, and this one is fine on both. If you're interested in brioche, Amy Dachin is teaching workshops for the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, so check that out. The retreat is February 17th and 18th, and the workshops are, well, there's one on the afternoon of the 16th and one in the morning of the 17th. So they are filling up, but I think we still have room at both the workshops and the retreat if you get in soon. Here are a couple more pair of socks that I've knit up. This is the yarn that Maureen gave me. It is Destinations yarn, and the color is Copenhagen. And well, you saw the reason that she thought of me. And this one is the Smooth Operator sock. I recognize now I think this is the first one that I did, except I did a 3x1 rib, and I just did the heel as Smooth Operator, and that's Susan B. Anderson. I kind of assume people know that by now because it's been the talk of the town, but I really like it, and I actually have done 4 pairs now, 4 pair of 2 men's, 2 women's, and here's the other one. This is also Smooth Operator, and this yarn is Cannon Hand Dyes. I had to think of it. It's a Jane Austen colorway. The heel is Seven Sisters Arts in the Matrika base, which is a silk and merino. So it should wear well because silk is nature's nylon. So yeah. And one of the advantages to the Smooth Operator sock or any Afterthought heel sock, which is a good reason to choose it for socks, is that you can easily replace it. You could just cut this off and, sorry, some fluff got up there, and just cut it off and then reknit it. It would be so simple as opposed to a heel flap and gusset. I do love a heel flap and gusset though, I have to say. I really enjoy it. All right, oh yes, one more knitting related thing I have to duck out of the picture for. I wanted to share this with you because it's one of my holiday decorations that is related to knitting. I have mittens that I knitted for my children when they were young, and of course some get lost and others lose one. So I just couldn't throw them away. By the way, I did, on some of them, they have their name and phone number on there. On the inside, I would put a little tag in there, and I would end up with mittens showing up at our front porch. We lived on a walking route to one of the schools, and our kids, sometimes someone would see the last name and just drop it off on our porch. This is probably the cutest pair of all. I have a photo of our youngest son wearing these when I made them for him. These accidentally got felted in the washing machine, and That made them even better. These, one of them faded and one of them didn't, so I don't know what happened there. These were this, I don't know, these are just regular ones. Here's the stop and go mittens, but go got lost. So we only have stop. And that's done in duplicate stitch on there. Well, here's another single red mitten. Oh, I loved these. These matched one of the wallabies, and this is, yeah, kind of a heathery yarn with the pink in there. And then here's another pair that got felted accidentally. It turned out they were the favorite mittens for a while. And then a neck scarf. So I just put these in a basket and have them by the door. Now this year it's pretty exciting because my granddaughter will be here and there actually will be someone who can wear these, although she has such tiny hands. I don't know. But here's, I put these photos of them with the mittens. I obviously made those in the summer. So there he is wearing, those by the way are Fox Geese and Fence Robin Hansen mittens. And then here's one. I love this picture so much, where he's wearing, he made his first snowman by himself, and his brother was taking a nap. I just think that's so cute, because I said to him, smile like the snowman, and he did. So, anyway, those are little keepsakes. So I just get them out at Christmas, and I put them in a basket like this, and then I have some berries or greenery that I kind of stick in there. So anyway, I wanted to show you that. Now I am going to break and bring out the, well, yes, the cross stitch of Denmark done, and then my quilting. Okay, my map of Denmark, I had talked to you last time, or maybe 2 times ago, that I wanted to put a flag of Denmark on it, but I didn't know how it would work with the colors. I think most of the people said go for it. A few people said no, don't do it. Don't put the red in there, it'll ruin it. But I really felt very strongly that I wanted that flag on the map. So I did it, and it took me longer than I thought it would. I think I had to take it out once, and so I pinned it up here, but see if I can get it all in. So there it is, and quite honestly, I think the map, or the flag, just makes it. I think that it was the missing puzzle piece, and I think all of the maps of Denmark should have the flag on it, because I think that makes it. So I have steamed it and pressed it. I got the name of a good framer, and that's the next step. So it's all done except for that. And when I have it framed, I'm going to take Tilly Trout's advice and have the letter that went with it. If you heard the original, this goes back a long way. I started it in the 80s. And so it does go back quite a bit. I have a quilting project that I did, I think, last year, and intended as a gift for my oldest son and his wife, and they just moved into a new house. They're coming for Christmas, so they're getting the quilt. I have to say, I try to step out of my comfort zone on the colors, and I'm not really crazy about it, but a lot of people who have seen it, and especially younger people as they are, they really like it. So anyway, it's not either my best quilting job, but let's see, I'm trying to think what the pattern was. I don't even remember. I don't remember, but it's not anything. So here it is. It's a modern type. It's a throw size. I do really like the border, the double border pieced. I always am good for a piece border. I think it really adds to the quilt. The pinks on this are not coming up quite as bright as they are. It looks a little bit more subtle. So it's pretty good size. I did quilt this myself. I just did Stitch in the Ditch on that. It's it was too big, really. I learned my lesson on this. This is too big for me to try to do on my own unless I do the Quilt as you go, which I did not do on this. So I'm going to put a date on it, and I think I'll just probably write it on there. Quite honestly, I have not done much quilting at all. I finished another quilt that I'm going to show you, and right now all my quilting stuff is out of sight. If you walked downstairs, you wouldn't even know that I quilt because I put away my sewing machine. Well, my cabinet is still there that has a lot of my supplies in it. It has glass windows, so you would see that. But I wanted that space to be cleaned up when everyone comes, but just lately in the last day or two, I started getting the urge to do some quilting. So we'll see how that goes. I also did some sewing, which I'll have to stop the video and get that. But anyway, the other quilt I finished is the one that's from the Jelly Roll book by Pam and Nikki Lintott, and it's called Blue Lagoon. Mine has no blue in it, pretty much. I don't think it has any blue in it, but the colors in the collection, I used a Jelly Roll Welcome Wagon by Kim Deal. I'll take some photos of this and maybe insert them here. It's a pretty good sized quilt. And the quilting was done by Nancy, who is Grace and Peace Quilting. And she does a beautiful job. I mailed it off to her. And let's see if you can see there. That's the quilting pattern. The back of it, I'm going to try to move camera a little bit so that I can show you. The back of it is fabric from Connecting Threads, which there. Let's see if I can get so you can see. It's pretty good size. It's pretty much square. I think it's slightly not square, but if you look at it, it looks square, but I think it's just slightly off. But, I mean, it is square, but one measurement is a little bit more than the other just because I probably put on an extra, because you're putting on an extra one of these. So I had never purchased fabric from Connecting Threads, which, but I saw this in their catalog, this backing, and it's 104 inches, so I didn't have to piece it. And it's an ombre. I put my my tool tape label on there, and then, well, I will. I'll put the date on the other side. That's the easiest thing to do. So I ordered the fabric because I liked it. I really liked the fabric better than anything else I saw. The only thing was then I decided to do the binding with the backing fabric, and it was not going to look good to cut it on the grain like you normally do. So I tried, and I did it. I did bias binding, which there are a couple different ways you can do it, but this made it so the ombre effect would carry through. Otherwise, it wouldn't have looked right. So I'm glad I did that. I really was ready to send it off to Nancy as soon as I could. By the time I get to the backing, I'm just, I'm kind of done with it. Although she sent it back. I like to do the hand sewing on the binding. That's sort of my final farewell. Now, I think I might have told this when I talked about it before, but what I like to do is get a jelly roll and then pick out some other fabrics from my stash or fat quarter here and there and cut some other pieces that aren't in the collection, and these cornerstones that I put, they're called I think they're cornerstones, capstones. That's a different fabric. That's Kansas Troubles. And I think there's a little bit more in here. I don't think I can find them now. But believe it or not, without these cornerstones, I didn't have enough fabric to do these borders. I had to do the cornerstones. So it worked out well. I love this quilt. I'm really happy with it. I don't know if you can see the background fabric is not just white or cream. It has a little pattern in it. And yeah, I think it's really pretty. It looks fallish without screaming acorns and pumpkins, although there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I really like it. See if I can think of anything else about it. I think that's it. Oh, one little tip. I had, in one of my videos, I was sewing on the binding by hand, and I said that the thread was always curling up and knotting. And somebody from Indiana, trying to think who that was. I won't think of it now, but someone said that her mother gave her a tip, and she's always remembered it, that when you thread your needle, the end closest to the needle should be the end closest to the spool, or the other way around. The closest to the spool should be closest to the needle, I think. What? Maybe I just told you wrong. Wait a minute, I'm going to look that up because I wrote it down. But I think part of the problem is that when you use these skinny spools that the Orfil and whatever that German one is, Gutmann, they come in these skinny spools. So the thread is more curly than it is on a fat spool. I'm watching my time again. So I do think it helps, but I also think it helps to not use that thread that's coiled up real tightly, especially if you're at the end of one of those bobbins. I'm going to type in what she told me so that I got it right, because now I'm totally questioning that. Okay, I think I'm going to go get my other project, so I'll pause here and get a drink of water too. Okay, the project is from this book, which is Sweetly Stitched Handmaids. 18 Projects to Sew for You and Your Loved Ones by Amy Sinibaldi. I now follow her on Instagram. So the project I made is called Simple Zipper Patchwork Pouch. And no, I'm not going into the project bag business. That would be my worst nightmare. Okay, here's the ones that, if you've ever wondered why you saved all your teeny tiny scraps of fabric, this is it, because I just have the hardest time. I have a harder time throwing away fabric scraps than I do yarn scraps, because these, I just thought someday I'm going to want those, and yeah, I did. And the back is pieced as well. So most of these are reproduction. Now in the book, so the top part of the bag is linen. And then her tag on there says linen and cotton handmade, and then has a little branch on it. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I just drew my own little bird on a branch, and they're a little different. I made 4 of these, but 2 of them I don't have the tags done yet. And there's one. That was the first one. And then the second one is obviously probably a wren. Could be a nuthatch, I guess, but it's a wren. That's what I was going for. And they have a zipper top. And again, I really had fun. And I like the stitching detail here. You use all 6 strands of your floss and then just a big running stitch. And the inside is just muslin. That's all I used. So I had fun with them, and I'm saving them for special gifts and probably keep one for myself. So this book, by the way, really has some great projects in it, and I just saw it on probably on Amazon, and it was kind of one of those impulse purchases. This is the other project that I really like. It's a baby quilt or a miniature quilt. It says in embroidery, "Sweet dreams, sleep tight. I love you. Good night." Who can argue with that? There it is. It's a dollhouse quilt, but it could be made into a baby quilt. You could just make it bigger, which is what I might do at some point. We'll see. Oh, she calls it a mouse house doll quilt. I don't think I want to go to that much trouble for a doll quilt, maybe, but for a baby quilt, yes. There are really cute projects in here. She uses a lot of Liberty of London, so of course it's quite charming. So that is Sweetly Stitched Handmaids. Okay, I think that's all I have to show you. I expect to be starting on a quilting project in the new year. I think after the holidays and after the family leaves, I'll be ready to get back into a project. I kind of miss it, but I've been doing a lot of knitting. I'll probably have more of that to show as well. Oh, I forgot my project piece, but you can see that when it's done. I am doing that. I'm probably on about the 12th day, so I'm behind, but I had a lot of work to do on that dress, so that's how that went. I hope you all have a lovely holiday season. I don't know when my next video podcast will be, but the audio will come out again the first week in January. And I really appreciate your support and that you watch and leave comments below. That means a lot. And a lot of you have hit the thumbs up button, and that means a lot too. So I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and bye.